Now that we have satisfied the anxiety genes inside you for creating the apps, now let's try to go on to a very formal approach. The approach is simply going to be learn the Swift syntax first of all, so that you do not see a big eyes opening out there onto the screen and sees what was there, the exclamation doing, and what was this backslash and a couple of brackets, and what was the thing that was going on that we didn't understand. And the simple reason is you didn't gone through quite a lot with the Swift. So let's try to do that. Now I said that we will have a tour of the Xcode, but we didn't got that. Right now that is not important. That will come definitely. But right now let's just take a look onto the playground. Now I'll open my playground simply by clicking on that first thing, the playground. Otherwise you can also click on the file menu, click on the new, and you can create a playground. I'll discuss what the playground is in a moment. Let's just call it as a basic right now. Now, whenever you create a test basic ground, that is a playground out here, you got an option to link it up with the iOS or OS X. Now, this is nothing much more extraordinary. It just links you to the default libraries for which you are testing out your code. Now let's click on the next. And honestly, the playgrounds were created so that people don't have those many test backgrounds out there or configuration of the environment. Like for example, if you are learning the Java, you need to configure a tons of things before writing a simple hello world. But that's not the case with that. But still you can see I have got a test.playground, and that is simply because I want to have everything onto my screen before I actually teaches you out there. Everything should be working. And let's go onto the full screen. And you can see our Xcode is being divided into the two parts. But before that, I would like to give you a simple thing that with my experience, I have felt that the Xcode 6 version was pretty good with the playground, and the Xcode 7 is a little bit buggy, not too much, but little bit buggy in that running time. You might see that this ready is coming quite a lot of after some time, maybe 30 to 40 seconds or maybe after a minute. So be patient at that point. I hope the Apple is working on that. Right now in this case, we were being lucky so that everything got playground and everything is being set quite a lot. And you can see that playground is being divided into the two parts. You can see the whitish area and the grayish area. The pane on the left side is known as the code editor, where you write your code, and the right side is the automatic refresh and auto execution part, where everything just executed automatically. So you do not write anything like print the string or anything. You can see it just says declaration of a string. Don't worry, we'll cover that all. What are the variables, constants, and all of that. That is why this section is for. But right now you can see the variable is only being declared and we got the value out here. So it's a pretty good, it's an auto refreshing environment, and testing of the code is really simple with that. So let's say if I define one more string, I call it as account balance, and I've set it to a value of 100, and I move on to the next line, and automatically it gives us 100. Yes, we could have the print ln and the print and all of that syntax, but let's just leave that a story to the next for some other day. Right now we just have a value of the account balance directly being onto out here. Now at this moment, a lot of people will be comparing this language to many other languages, like maybe a C style language, C++, or by seeing the var you must be comparing it with the JavaScript. But do not do that. You might be barking at the wrong tree. That is not at all the case. You should be doing. Now, so what you should be worried about? The first important thing is, let's say I want to declare a variable a, and that is having a value 1, and you want to have another variable on the same line. Then you can also have a var, and let's just say b is equals to 3. Now that is also allowed. We can have two variables on the same line separating with the semicolons, but according to the Apple guidelines in the documentation, they say that semicolons are not required, but they will not prompt you any error if you use one of them. So accordingly, that is not a good reason just to declare two variables in the one line to use the semicolons. I would say don't use the semicolon, just declare everything onto a next line and just simply don't use that. Now there are a lot of things that you can do with the playground right now. You can simply, let's just say I want to have account balance and I want to increase some value. So I just say plus equals to 80. It just increases the value to 80. Now you can see at the moment it says 100 and 180. If I could have simply used a loop, I could have simply say for I in. Now don't worry about the syntax, we will deal that later on. I can simply say 1 2 let's just say 90 or something like that, and after that I could have put a curly braces and written a line something like this. I would simply saying, let's just say account balance is equals to account balance and my, or simply plus I. Now that is a perfectly valid code, and you can see it has been iterated over 89 times. Now don't worry about the syntax, we have got a lot of things and a lot of videos to cover that. Right now I just wanted to introduce you with the features of the playground. So you can see on the right hand side pane we have got a couple of icons. The first one is the quick look, and then there is a second one that says show result. Now if I click on this quick look, it just gives me a quick look about what the value is, how many times the iteration is being going on, and related stuff. Also, if I click on the plus, you can see the value is being displayed out here onto the screen. And notice it also plots the graph at what time, what was the value of the particular variable which need to be changed or which is looping through. Of course, you could have the graph out here and all of these things just out here. Again, let's get rid of this guy. We don't need that. So this was a quick introduction. Now you might have noticed one more thing in the Swift just immediately without talking about the variables and constant, all of that. There was no main method in it. So although the Swift doesn't require any kind of controlling over the entry point, but certainly we can do that. There are a lot of methods for that, but right now for the testing of the code, I would highly recommend, and to learn the Swift, I would highly recommend to learn onto playing onto the Swift playground. It is a quite essential and quite a quick look to have that. In fact, let's say you want to build up a script that search for all the prime numbers, you can quickly come onto the playground, test your script, and can go back to your application. I could have done this entire video tutorial onto some, let's say, application build up on an app, but that would be taking a lot of time. So that is why we are onto the playground. So now you are familiar with the playground. Let's talk about the core syntax of the Swift.